everybody for meeting. We took a break last month because we had some travel going on, but we're excited to jump back in. And I know it's summer, so we might be a little bit lighter in participants, but we appreciate you guys all making the effort to be here with us. And we've got a good agenda. So Julia, you want to take roll call?
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the meeting. So I just want to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded. We ask that you please rename your Zoom name to your full name and the organization you're with. If you are a resident, please just put the letter R. So for roll call, when I call on your name, if you can please unmute and say which organization you're with. And then at the end, I will be introducing attendees that are with the Port of Stockton. So first up, we have Sandy.
Sorry, I'm here.
That's okay. And Sandy, did you just want to introduce yourself and say which organization you're with?
Sure, I'm Sandy Pabin. I work with the Housing Authority of the County of San Joaquin, and I'm going to talk about some of the stuff we're working on.
Wonderful, thank you and welcome. And then Katie Chamberlain.
Hi, Katie Chamberlain, Anchor QEA.
Thank you. Hi, Katie. And then Brent.
Yep. Hi, everybody. Brent Shanta with SATCO.
Welcome. Thank you. And David Ritchie.
Hi, David Ritchie with BWC Terminals.
Hi, David. Thank you. And then Hector.
Hello, Hector Olivares with Catholic Charities.
Thank you. Welcome, Hector. And Ellen Priest.
Hi, I'm with Department of Water Resources, and I also consult for Robertson Bryan Incorporated.
Thank you. And Espy.
Hello, good afternoon. Esperanza Vielma with EJCW.
Thank you. Hi, welcome. And then Esther.
Hi, I'm Esther Muru with Restore the Delta.
Thank you, Esther. And then we have Jared.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jared Kupchak, Nevada Smith.
Thank you. Welcome. And Kyle.
Hey, everybody. This is Kyle Goff. I'm with the California Air Resources Board.
Thank you, Kyle. Welcome. And Douglas.
Hello, my name is Doug Fitzgerald. I'm a resident of Stockton. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. And Ravi.
Yes, I'm Ravi Narayanan with HDR Engineering.
Thank you, Ravi. And Stephanie.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephanie Ng, and I'm from the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District. I think Jessica Olson is normally in these meetings, and I'm just sitting in for her. Thanks.
Thank you. And Tom Hamp.
Good afternoon. My name is Tom Hamp. I'm with Eagle Materials.
Thank you. Welcome. Happy to have you. Okay, and then with the Port of Stockton, we have Port Commission Chair William Trezza. Then we have Commissioner David Atwater, Port Director Kirk DeJesus, Jeff Wingfield, Deputy Port Director, Jason Cashman, Environmental and Regulatory Affairs Manager, Paula O'Keefe, the Director of Finance and Accounting, Daniel Orozco, our Grants Management Specialist, and Karen Romero and myself. And I don't think I missed anybody. I apologize if I did. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Jeff.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Okay, we've got a few items to cover today. One of the things we really wanted to talk about was some of the workforce development opportunities that we're looking into. And Sandy, I'll join her to go over kind of some updates there. We're also going to talk about a grant opportunity that we are partnering with DWR and RBI, and I think Restore the Delta is a part of that one as well for the harmful algal blooms. And then we've got some updates, just kind of checking into where we are on the truck counts and everything we're working on with that. So
I'm gonna have Rhonda take a look at it before we send it out. Yeah, I want to make sure.
You want to mute Paula for us?
Yeah, because I don't want to put
Sure.
the stuff together tomorrow.
One moment, sorry. Karen, are you able to? Oh, there we go.
All right. And then I just wanted to give some general port updates, kind of what we've been up to for the last month or so. You want to go to the next slide, Julia? So we did have a cleanup day on April 27th. All of you that participated, it was a pretty strenuous one. That was there was a lot of dumping that had happened out on Roberts Island. And I think we had like 30 folks show up. We were grateful to have that many people, a good mixture of the community and our tenants and our employees. So we really appreciate everybody for coming out for that one. I know everyone was probably extremely sore the next day. But since then we have actually we worked, the port director worked with our police chief to install, did they put cameras out there, Kirk?
They have the cement blockades, and they had the portable cameras for a little while, but they removed them. I was out there actually last week, and there's no trash at all, which is great.
Oh, that's great. Good, because the goal hopefully would be to stop having to go to that spot for our cleanup days and maybe work somewhere closer to the water, downtown, Smith Canal, the Calaveras, things like that. So. But that was a success. We've completely filled two 40-yard dumpsters in no time. Anything else there? We hosted Washington School Elementary. Their 7th and 8th graders for their graduation dinner and dance at the Lindley House. That was on May 24th. That was a great success. You can see a picture of them on the slide below. My staff went out and gave an OWL presentation also at Washington Elementary, which was tremendous. I'm encouraged every time we go out and talk to them about the owls and their interest in the port, and it was a great morning. We also have another OWL presentation coming up for students at the Native American Center, and that will be on June 26th. We put together the first annual Port of Stockton golf tournament, and this is to benefit the Boggs Track Community Center this year. We are really hoping to do something to benefit Washington Elementary, but they are transitioning principals, and so they were not able to participate with us this first year. But we do have a great opportunity to help serve and provide funds for the Boggs Track Community Center. So we're excited for that, and we'll be sending out information on that very soon. We kind of already talked about the future of the port outreach meetings. We'll probably send out a poll to everybody who has attended in the past to try to figure out what would work best for everybody. And we don't want to change it up so much that we lose a lot of participation, but we think we can go a little bit deeper if we have these in person. And then both Kirk and I were at the Advanced Clean Transport Exposition. It was a huge conference that showcased 95% of it was towards zero emission equipment. All of the OEMs were there, very heavy focus on the charging infrastructure, a lot of hydrogen trucks. It was phenomenal. It was overwhelming. It was a huge exposition. And then next week, we're also traveling to Long Beach to the Port Electrification Conference. Kirk, you wanted to say something?
No, I'm not sure why my hand was up. Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. So we're excited about that. As much as anything, we're able to connect with other ports and talk about lessons learned. We've been having some issues with some of the equipment, more recently with some of the charging infrastructure. We're not really happy with some of the service we're getting. So just being able to talk to not only the manufacturers of the equipment that we have now, and encourage them to provide us better service, but also to see what else is out there has been a great opportunity. So we're excited for that. And then a huge heavy lift that we've been involved in for the past few months. There you go. There's the port electrification. Has been our submitting on the EPA Clean Ports Grant. It was a lot. I mean, we ended up with I think $119 million budget for this. Thankfully, this is heavily subsidized to the tune of 90%. But what our ask, and I think a lot of the folks here helps provide support letters, and we're extremely grateful for that. But what we ended up with was 52 light, medium, and heavy duty electric forklifts. We applied for 2 electric mobile harbor cranes, 6 electric terminal tractors, 58 chargers, 6 megawatts of rooftop solar to help power the charging infrastructure, and 1.5 megawatts of battery storage, 1 electric mobile rail car indexer, and also shore power. We partnered with Marathon in the East Bay to help them get some shore power for one of their berths there as well. Are there any questions on any of that? Okay, seeing none. The only other thing I wanted to mention was also, I know a lot of folks are interested in the bonnet capture and control system that we've been working with Congressman Harder's office on. We do have meetings that we're scheduling now with manufacturers, so we're getting that ball rolling and very excited for that as well. Any other questions for me at all? Okay, seeing none. I wanted to introduce Sandy Pabin. We've been in discussions with Sandy. She got a great workspace that's just across the channel from the port. And it has capacity to really help develop the workforce that we need to be able to work on our newer zero emission equipment. We had tried with Delta College, that stalled out. So Sandy is motivated. We're putting together the curriculum for this thing, and we've got folks from the manufacturer of our heavy duty lifts who's going to help provide some of the knowledge that we need to pass on. And so Sandy, if you want to take it away to talk about more of our efforts.
Sure. Well, I'm going to tell some of you know, I mean, I've talked to you all. It kind of looks like some of our AB 617 meetings. I want to talk a little bit about where it is, what we're doing, and how what I'm going to tell you about fits into the big picture. So we are, it's the Green Economy Lab. It is at 1700 West Fremont Street. Literally, if you get off 5, it'll be, and you bear a hair to the right, it's right there. This started as kind of a brainchild in 2019. I wrote a grant with the Housing Authority for a Jobs Plus grant. It was one of 4 given in the country. And when we met with the residents, there were 3 things they said they needed: transportation, training, and childcare. So then COVID hit. And while we were on lockdown, really worked with a partner that we found, which was a EVCS, EV charging stations, who became our partner, because we were looking very much for car share as a program as opposed to service. And I'll explain that in a minute. And then wrote a grant to the California Energy Commission for the training. So right now, what we have, literally, Jeff's right across the channel, we have a high school diploma program that we do Comeback Kids with the County Office of Education. We have a customer service class. We have EV charging station maintenance and install. We have an EV car mechanic boot camp. And we have a partnership with Delta if somebody wants to go on and get their associate's degree. After that, we added a couple of other things. We have partnered with the Western Electrical Contractors Association, and we are offering their electrical trainee, which is 4 modules. Once you finish, you immediately get your ET card from the state and can go to work for anybody. We also, in all the grants that we've written, just so you know, we have stipends, right? So when people get jobs, they get stipends. So, and right now, if you were to come visit, we have, Rising Sun is doing training with young people on energy saving measures like low flow shower heads, things like that. And Grid Alternatives is actually doing solar training. So if you want to come visit, let me know. I'm happy to have you. So all of that sort of started a conversation between Jeff and I. And so in full disclosure, in another life, I used to be a teacher and school administrator. So that's really kind of what motivates me. And I had written the curriculum for the EV charging station maintenance and install, and had written a couple of other things. And I said, I think we can do this. So we met with Wiggins Lift, and they have given us a bunch of material. And the goal is to be able to train not only folks who are currently at the port, who are needing to service this equipment, because right now it has to go on a very long journey, either the equipment or a person, to even find out what's wrong and get it serviced. Then the next piece would be that we're going to add the department about the troubleshooting. Now that's a little more complicated because that takes some experience, but Wiggins is committed. They have been wonderful. Their chief engineer, a guy named Chase, has been absolutely spot on. I ask him questions. He's like, sure, let's talk. And that's super important. The other thing we're working on, which I think Jeff and I, well, everybody we've talked to, and we've talked to Stockton Unified, is a summer program for young people. Now, the other thing we know is that a lot of our young people, they have to have summer jobs. It's not oh, wouldn't it be nice? It's their families need it. So we're in the process of putting together, I'll write the curriculum for it, to be determined the length. We'll see about that. And the young people will get trained on, and every week we'll focus on a different portion of the operations of the port. We've talked to a couple of other ports that do something similar. Right now it's either after school or, it's part of a class that they get a logistics kind of taste of things. But ours would be a little bit different, because what they would do is they would come to the Green Economy Lab. They'd learn about things, and we'd get people coming over and talking, because obviously the port is not just, Jeff and there's all the tenants, right? As a lot of and everybody does something a little bit different. So the idea is to have those people come over, talk about what they do, and then be able to bring the young people over and actually see it in action, to realize that there are a zillion different opportunities at the port, from logistics to longshoremen to, being able to do the things on the lifts, all kinds of opportunities. Really doesn't matter depending what you do. And then the idea is for maybe the young people to be able to see opportunities that they didn't even know existed. And again, they get, it would be in the summer, so it would, and they get paid. So those are the two things. And again, it's evolutionary. I mean, we've got lots and lots of partners, of a whole bunch that I just mentioned, but we're adding every day. And so if it's something you might say, hey, San, let's talk, I've got an idea. But for the port in particular, the idea is, number one, to help build the folks actually who are currently at the port. And once we get those folks up and running, to build a train the trainer model, so then we can open it to the community, because it's not just our port that we have the opportunity for. We've got other inland ports that are commutable, West Sacramento being an idea, that if somebody couldn't get a job at our port, they would be able to get someplace else relatively, without going the hike to the bay. So what did I forget, Jeff?
No, you hit it right out of the park. But the focus, the part that I think I'm more passionate about is yes, getting to those high school kids that are getting ready to make decisions about going to college or going into the trades or whatever the case may be, and really showing them the opportunities that there are at the port. And the ports in general are just kind of a hidden industry, and so we're really excited about this. And we'll get folks from all of our different staff to speak. We'll get tenants who are motivated to share their stories, and so it's going to be great. We also put in some funding in the EPA Clean Port Grant for some of the workforce development opportunities as well.
And the idea is it's beneficial for everyone, right? Because we all know that we all have a labor shortage. And, if we can turn people onto the ideas so that there's opportunities, then, they're going to come back from where they've been grown, kind of thing. So we're hopeful that, even if they go off, that there's opportunities. And if we can connect them up with training if that's what they need, if they need some kind of training, like, the electric, we're talking about, if, to focus on that, whatever it is, the idea is the other thing I didn't talk about is in all these programs I told you about, we have a case manager. And her job is to help remove the barriers. So if the kids that we're talking about, that Jeff and I have been talking about, if they need something, they need transportation, whatever it is that we need, that we have the ability to remove the barriers to help them along the path.
So yes, exciting opportunities. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts? Thank you for the comment, Hector. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Next, Ellen Priest is here to we've been talking about how we're going to address, I'm sure everyone's familiar with the harmful algal blooms and their serious impact, not only to just the recreation, but health as well. And I know that Restore the Delta has been doing some work on the HABs aerosol or become aerosolized and causing health impacts, and we're able to breathe them in. But there's a great opportunity coming up through the Corps of Engineers, a grant, and Ellen reached out to see if the port would be supportive. I mean, we're right on the waterfront right there, so the HABs not only affects the residents, but it affects the water quality around the port as well. So, Ellen?
Oh, so I just have a short presentation on the project that Jeff introduced. And it's about dredging as a potential solution to the harmful algal bloom issue in the Stockton waterfront area. So for some background, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers released an RFP in, I think it was April or May, for a harmful algal bloom demonstration program. And so what they were looking for is technical support and demonstration of scalable freshwater HAB prevention, detection, and management technologies. And their goal is to identify solutions capable of reducing the severity and frequency of HABs. They had several priority areas in their RFP, and the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta was identified as one of those priority areas. In collaboration with the Port and City of Stockton, we had conducted a study that I presented at these meetings in 2022, where we really did a kind of an in-depth study to characterize the harmful algal bloom issue in the Stockton waterfront. And an outcome of that study is that we identified some potential management solutions to dealing with the bloom. And one of the solutions that we were interested in potentially trying is dredging. And that is because the Port of Stockton is already dredging just downstream in the deep water ship channel. They do maintenance dredging there. And so we knew that they had them and their contractors have the expertise in dredging. And we knew based on other studies, mostly in lakes and reservoirs, that dredging is one potential to dealing with.
Not hearing her. She's frozen.
Ellen, can you hear us? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All right, we lost Ellen. So, Ellen, if you rejoin, just feel free to jump back in. But yeah, so one of the opportunities to remove the seed bed of the harmful algal blooms that's down in the sediment is through dredging. And so this group reached out to us to try to figure out if there was a way to partner to see if we could get the funding to be able to try to make this work out.
Wow, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. We could do something like that.
It's huge. I mean, we've tried other little tricks. I mean, right now we have the aerator that we operate for dissolved oxygen, and we've tried to mix the water column to try to see because one of the issues is the striation, and so we've tried a few things that was within our powers, but we really haven't found a solution, and it's so devastating to the downtown area. Hector.
Just a quick question. Where's this been tried at before? Or done before?
Oh, hang on. Here's Ellen. Ellen, you with us? Let's let Ellen join. I'm not sure, Hector, if it has been tried other places.
And then when you're looking at dredging, about how far down are you guys going to go?
I think they're talking about just a foot or 2 feet. Sometimes the equipment is limited. Hi, Ellen, welcome back. Sometimes the dredge equipment is limited, but we're talking about 1 to 2 feet.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Ellen. There was a question of whether or not this has been successfully or tried in other areas. We can see your slides. Can you hear us, Ellen? Ellen, maybe if you just stop sharing and maybe turn off your video, let's see if we can at least get audio.
Oh, okay. Now it is unmuted. I don't know what happened. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm going to keep my video off.
No,
Sorry
no
about
problem.
that. I don't know what's going on. Okay, sorry. What was the question? Has dredging been utilized in lakes and reservoirs to deal with harmful algal blooms? To my knowledge, to our knowledge, it has not been utilized in an estuarine system, such as the Delta, which is one of the reasons this is a demonstration project. So it's the Army Corps wants to try out, these techniques that may work in something like an estuary. And so that's one of the reasons that we're proposing this project.
Would that be like a light vacuum dredging or suction dredging system? Maybe just go in.
Clamshell dredge is what the port has proposed, and it would remove about 2 feet of sediment. And I will show you the dredging footprint that we are envisioning here shortly. Okay, I'll keep going, but feel free to ask more.
I have a question. I raised my hand and nobody's not noticing it.
sorry,
So,
Douglas.
Go ahead.
I noted that this presentation was not. I think I've seen this presentation before. I don't know if it was by somebody. I don't know, but it's a deja vu for me. But the presentation was 2020. Do you have the updated follow-up of this year 2024? Because I know that the proposal was due in June 28, 24. Have you already had the proposal done, expedite that particular grant already by the Army Corps?
We have not applied for this previously.
No, this is a completely new project. You maybe are remembering, I did give a talk a couple years ago on our work in the Stockton waterfront in 2022, where we did that in-depth study. And we did propose in that study dredging as a potential option, but this funding opportunity had not been made available that I'm aware of at that point. So it just became available this spring, and we just submitted our full proposal in May, and then just a couple weeks ago we're invited to submit a full proposal.
Oh, wonderful! So, based on what your research, are you looking for bacteria molecule for the reservoir, or are you looking for any bio animal, those things that live in the mud, something like that, that live in the water or not? Because I know the algae come from algal bloom, right? Is that the case?
Yep. Yeah, we're going to be, and I'll get into that. I have some slides on that to explain it a little bit better, but we are
Okay.
specifically targeting the cyanobacteria and the nutrients as well that are in the sediments, and to remove that to make the water not look like this picture on my slide. Is there one more question? And then I think some of the answers may be in the next couple of slides, but I'm happy to answer a question now too.
I think we answered Hector's. Hector, did you have another question? Okay.
Just one more. Would this require a environmental impact report?
Yes, CEQA would be required.
Okay, thank you.
And that is accounted for in our budgeting. Okay, so the name of our pre-proposal is From Micro to Macro, Using Molecular Tools to Detect Benthic Cyanobacteria Seed Stocks for Targeted Mitigation via Dredging in the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta. We had about a 5-page pre-proposal, and then they invited us for this full proposal, which I have been working very hard on getting it done. It's quite a bit of work to put together in such a short time period. And, we're requesting a pretty large budget to complete it from the Army Corps. And then we're also relying on funds that are being provided in kind by the Department of Water Resources, the Central Valley Water Board, and the State Water Board. Funding is really being done. It's in-kind staff funds, so boat and staff time to collect samples, to look at the area pre-dredging, during dredging, and then post-dredging to see if the dredging was successful or not. And then it's also being used to pay the laboratory costs of all of those sediments to be analyzed. The Army Corps funding is being requested for the actual dredging itself. To prepare permit, so CEQA was mentioned, so we will need a 401 water quality permit from Central Valley Water Board. We'll need a 404 permit from the U.S. Army Corps, and that includes a biological assessment. And then we'll need a stream bed alteration agreement from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. So that's a lot of documentation that will need to be prepared, and Robertson Bryan Incorporated will be preparing that. We'll also need a dredging design, and we'll also need to characterize the sediment as part of the 401 permit, so that the water board can confirm that we can dispose of the material, the dredged material, in the area that the port has identified as the location where they would like to dispose of it. Okay, so why are we doing this? Well, cyanobacteria harmful algal blooms have been an issue in the Delta since 1999, and the Stockton area has been recognized as a Delta harmful algal bloom hotspot since at least 2012. I do want to caveat that it was not in 2023, possibly because of that extreme wet year. They're seeing, and we're continuing to study it now, and we anticipate a bloom will form this year, but we're not certain, so we'll just have to wait and see. But assuming with all of the nutrients and the warm temperatures that it will form, and if it forms, then the dredging would make sense to proceed with. I wanted to show you this figure on the right, and I really want you to focus on the blue dot, which is the Stockton waterfront. And the state of California has these danger, warning, and caution levels for the toxin microcystin that these harmful algal blooms can form. And you can see that Stockton in 2020, 2021, 2022 exceeded the danger level each year on more than one date. As I mentioned, on 2023, we did not detect any toxins, but it is, if anyone that's been down there has seen that the water just turns this bright green, and it can be dangerous to human and animal health if these toxins are present. The point of this figure, this is a several kilometer transect with McLeod Lake on the right, and then the San Joaquin River near the Calaveras on the left. And this is a timestamp, so each of these panels is a different date. But what I wanted you to see is the chlorophyll. So that's the signal that's emitted by the harmful algal blooms. The redder the color, the more chlorophyll, and in this case, the more of that cyanobacteria was present. And you can see on almost all dates, most of that cyanobacteria was in the McLeod Lake area and then kind of moving downstream. So it wasn't nearly as big of a problem in the deeper part of the channel. And so we are proposing to target the dredging in the McLeod Lake area. So microcystis, which is the most problematic cyanobacteria that we have in the Stockton waterfront, has this ability to overwinter in the sediment. And so it grows really vigorously when the temperatures are warm. And then when it starts cooling off and the light levels decrease in the fall, it drops into the sediment and it can just overwinter and hang out there until the conditions are good again. And so it's a very stable cell. It can withstand a lot of different environmental conditions. And then, so when it starts to warm up and there's more light in the summertime, because we usually see these blooms in the summer, the cells can get recruited into the column and form this bloom. So this is important because what we want to do with the dredging is to remove that seed stock. That's one of the things that we want to do. So this is a study that I did with Janice Cook at the Central Valley Water Board and Tim Otten at Bengenetics. And we went around to 8 locations in the Delta and looked at how much cyanobacteria seed stock was in these locations. So we looked in November, the gray bars, and that's when we thought the most seed stock would be present because it's the end of the bloom season. So all the seed stock settles down to the sediment. And then the black bars are April. So at this point, the winter rains have come, flushing has occurred, some of those cells have died, and those black bars are what's available to seed the next summer's bloom. And the takeaway from here, and you can really see it in the bottom figure, is that Discovery Bay and Stockton had a lot more seed stock in April than any of these other sites, including Buckley Cove, Windmill Cove, Mildred Island, Frank's Tract. And these are also the locations where we're seeing those dense cyanobacteria blooms. So that seed stock is fueling the growth in the water column. And then I also just wanted to show you this figure. The words are maybe a bit much on the screen, but what I wanted you to see is in the 2022 study, we did this transect from McLeod Lake, down to the San Joaquin River at Calaveras. And it's really the bottom figure that I want you to look at. We looked at phosphorus. Phosphorus and nitrogen drive the growth of cyanobacteria. They need a lot of those nutrients to grow well. And so we wanted to see if the sediments were causing phosphorus to enter into the water column and help these cyanobacteria grow. Now we know there's lots of nutrients coming from lots of different sources in the Delta, but the sediments are proven here to be one of those sources of nutrients. And that's because these light blue bars are quite a bit larger than these dark blue bars. So light blue is the pore water in the sediments, and then dark blue is the overlying water column. So there's a lot more phosphorus being released from those sediments than in the water column itself. So that's another thing that we want to do with the dredging is decrease some of the nutrient source to these cyanobacteria. And then we also want to remove some of the organic carbon. So when those cells settle into the water column, they have organic carbon laying over the bottom of the water, and that causes a lot of chemical reactions that are favorable to the cyanobacteria. And it's 5 times higher at the McLeod Lake site than downstream in the deeper part of the ship channel. So this is the area that we are proposing to dredge. Currently, it's this yellow kind of shaded polygon, and it's about an 8-acre area. We've also identified these 2 little arms. We haven't all of our study has really, in the past few years, has been in the yellow shaded area, but we haven't investigated the two arms. I will say that every time I send the dredge down in this lower arm, I only pick up trash, so I can't really close it around the sediment. But maybe we would have more success on this northern arm. So we want to do a 2-year study before we dredge to really characterize the area. Where is the most cyanobacteria seed stock? And that would allow us to kind of shift this dredging footprint a little bit if we needed to. So we're gonna, these pink circles are looking at nutrients coming out of the sediment. Then we're gonna be measuring toxins. These green triangles will be water samples, and we'll be looking at the toxins, or I'm sorry, green squares. And we're just going to spend 2 years really doing a deep dive of the water quality and the sediment. All the pink dots are sediment locations where we're looking at that cyanobacteria seed stock to help inform where we want to dredge. We're proposing to dredge in October, November 2026. So that gives us time to start working on the permits before that, characterize the site, come up with the dredging design and all of that. And then we would do the same monitoring of the sediment in the water column 2 years post dredging to see if the mitigation was successful and if we could recommend it for other areas of the Delta. So I tried to leave that to 10 minutes, but put in as much information as I could. So I'm happy to answer more questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ellen. That's really interesting. And so the port's contribution is, you know, helping you guys with boat access to certain areas for sampling, providing expertise on the dredging aspects and questions, as well as helping you provide a location to put the dredge material if it meets our sediment quality criteria.
Yeah. Yeah, we couldn't be doing this project without the port. That is for sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You did a great job. No questions.
Okay.
I hope you're very successful in your grant application. That's great.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
definitely report back.
Is this state or federal grant? That's
Federal. And we're hopeful because the full proposal is, the questions are very specific to our project. So we think that's a positive thing, but you never know. We'll see what they say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ellen. We appreciate it. Okay, next up, you know, we've been talking about trucks through the neighborhood. We've had other presentations from CARB, I believe, on the drayage truck regulation. And so we hadn't done a truck study, a truck count in a while. So we asked HDR and Ravi Narayanan to help us put that together. And so he's going to give us a brief update on truck counts and where we are there. Thanks, Ravi.
Thank you, Jeff. I hope my camera is working okay, so you can, everybody can see me. I'll keep this very short. Like you said, it's an update of a truck count data collection and evaluation study we've undertaken recently. Maybe I will quickly screen share a vicinity map of the facility we are looking at. If I may share my screen.
Yes, absolutely.
So if everybody's able to see my screen, this is the a Google map of the locations and corridors we have selected for data collection for both the total volume of vehicular traffic as well as trucks only traffic. You know, every marker that you see on that's shown in red is an intersection level count, and then every location that we have marked as a yellow bar.
Baby, still driving?
No, we are.
Oh, geez. Doesn't the game start at 5?
Okay.
Hey, Hector, let's see.
Yeah, I think they're on mute. So on every location that's shown as in yellow is a roadway segment count location. So for the intersections as well as the segments, we are collecting what we call axle classified data, where we will have a breakdown of the actual number of vehicles classified by automobiles and trucks, and anything technically that's more than 4 axles, sorry, excuse me, 2 axles is considered a truck. But then there are many varieties of trucks that include school buses and other types of vehicles. So it's all comes under the axle classifications that FHWA uses to classify different types of vehicles. So we have collected that data last month, and the data has come in. We are in the process of looking at the data to decipher some high-level intelligence, so to speak, on truck origin destination traffic patterns. For again, what we're going to do, what we are in the process of doing actually is dissecting the data in a couple, 3 different ways in terms of looking at origins and destinations of truck trips entering and leaving the port from the different gates. The West Campus Gate and the East Campus Gate at Port Road A would be the 2 main corridors or 2 main gateways we will pick on, as well as the Port of Stockton Expressway gateway that you see on the southwest quadrant here. And we're also looking at some origin destination for truck traffic entering and leaving the Washington Street corridor, which is more of a subset of the truck trips that is entering from other locations as well. So this data has come in, and we are in the process of compiling and deciphering traffic patterns and origin destinations of those truck trips from the adjacent local street system as to whether these trucks are originating from Interstate 5, from the north, from the south, State Road 4, Crosstown Connector, from the east or from the west, and so on and so forth. And one other thing, one value-added information that we are really doing is supplement this ground count data with data from what we call big data vendors, such as Replica. And I won't get into what big data means in this presentation here, but it is basically tracking origin destination of truck trips and other types of trips based on mobile phone data that is provided or actually purchased off the shelf from these third-party vendors that provide such data to help track origin destination of traffic, including trucks that is entering and leaving the port. So the timeline for the study is underway, like I say. We are hoping to have a draft completed for port staff review, perhaps sometime in July, and then we'd be able to use those data and findings for other studies and supporting grant applications and other types of project purpose and need type statements in a variety of different contexts. We are hoping that data will be useful for the port, as well as the intelligence we gather from that data in terms of any potential issues, any insights, any eye-opening trends that we didn't think existed that the data would show. We are looking forward to those kind of findings.
Yeah, so this will feed into our overall decision making, especially as we move toward trying to get that last percentage of the trucks out of the Fresno truck route corridor. So no, that's really good stuff.
That's all I had for today, Jeff.
Okay.
I'll turn it over to you back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Did anybody have any questions for Ravi on the truck counts and truck study? Okay. I don't see any. So thank you very much, Ravi. We appreciate the update, and you'll be seeing them again soon when we get all the information back.
Thank you.
So we just have a couple minutes left. Were there any other questions or any other topics folks wanted to discuss?
2 great topics for this meeting. Looking forward to seeing results on both of them. That's really impressive thought process here on both those, and should reveal a lot of good information for the future of the port and the city.
Yes, we definitely hope so. it would be great to get to a point in a day where the harmful algal blooms were not in our life. I mean, we've dealt with many blows, the hyacinth when that gets bad at times, and the algal blooms as well. So we appreciate all the work that Ellen's doing on the algal blooms. And the other thing too, I mean, just talking a little bit about the workforce development, I mean, just to talk about one example that Sandy was mentioning, is that just to clear a code on some of our zero emission equipment, Wiggins has to drive up like 8 hours to get here just for a few minutes of work. And so if we can get folks locally trained to do not just clear codes, but also to provide the service that we need on this equipment to make it as reliable as it can be, that's a huge win for the port and also for the community in providing additional jobs to folks.
Yeah, that is wonderful.
Okay, I don't see anything else. Are there any more? Is there anything, Julia? Do you see anything?
Just that potentially at one of our upcoming meetings, we're going to have CARB present on the low carbon fuel standard.
That's right. That was a specific request from Mary Elizabeth. She wasn't going to be here this week, so we have pushed that into the future so that we can answer some of her questions that she has had. Yes, we should probably see them next month. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I will. Yes, Kyle, shout out to CARB. If there's nothing else, then we'll adjourn, and thank you all for your participation and for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Port team. Appreciate it. And thank you all participants.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Have a good
Thank you
evening.
all.
Thanks. Kyle.
Thank you.